I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order. Pastor Kagabine, would you start us off with a prayer, please?
Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for the opportunity to come and gathered here tonight. Lord, we pray a blessing upon our city, that God, you will continue to have your hand upon us and the safety and the provision. Lord, we pray for our mayor, that you continue to give her wisdom and guidance and direction. Lord, we pray for every person that's sitting at that table today, that you will give them the strength, the patience, and the endurance to continue to carry on the great work that they've committed their lives to. Lord, we pray for the new officers that will be installed tonight. We pray a blessing upon them and their families. Lord, we ask that they will be placed in the right positions and that they will serve and protect our communities to the truest calling that you have called and placed in them. Lord, we pray for our cities that you continue to open up doors for new opportunities that will meet the needs of this city. Lord, we pray for provision. We pray for safety. We pray for prosperity. And Lord, all these things we ask in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ferdinand, would you start us off, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nina, would you please call the roll?
Councilperson Alvarez?
Here.
Councilperson Podgorski?
Here.
Councilperson Geisers?
Here.
Councilperson Clem? Councilperson Williams?
Here.
Councilperson Gully?
Here.
Councilperson Zilli?
Here.
Thank you, Nina. At this time, we are going to swear in 3 new police officers. So will those officers please come forward?
One at a time, so we'll start, I'll tell you what, you stand over there, and we'll start with Ethan here. Yep.
So Ethan, this is my husband's Bible. He's a state police officer, served many years, so we're going to swear you in with his Bible. do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
to the best of my ability and according to the law,
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
so help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
All right, so, badge, so we're gonna do, let's do one of these for a picture, so. Anybody want to take a picture? Okay. Lieutenant Maynard over there. All right, all good? And then if you'd like to pin that on him.
Is Rodolfo next?
So you guys haven't figured out, we're keeping it in the family here, so. Captain Monk's and, obviously his boy, our new addition to the department. And, we'll talk about Tilly a little bit later, but, said, kind of a legacy thing here, keeping him in the family, so pretty excited about that, so. All right, Rodolfo. And the family here? All right, come on up if you're with them.
Everybody can come up and,
Sure.
Yeah, come on there,
Family
come
member,
on.
come on up.
There's only like 10,000 people watching it at once.
Okay, place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand and say it after me. I, Rodolfo Chavez Jr.,
I, Rodolfo Chavez Jr.,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
to the best of my ability and according to the law,
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Tilly, did that make you nervous? Happy.
Yeah.
All the family. That's perfectly fine. Do they want to come up? Yes. Okay, whoever wants to come up. Whoever wants to come up here for no one, come on up.
Go ahead. I'll take pictures.
Come on up. She's fine.
one. Two more.
Come on up.
You ready? Okay, now place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand and state after me. I, Noah A. Hamilton,
I, Noah A. Hamilton,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
as a member of the City of Portage Police Department
to the best of my ability and according to the law,
to the best of my ability and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
And then we'll take, let's get all three of you up here, get one picture of everybody. You guys want to join us?
Sure, come on, guys.
All right, look somewhere out there. All right. Lieutenant Maynard's good, so I think we're good. All right. Congratulations.
Are you serious? How are we that? Signs all the time. She's like, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So at this time, we had Student Government Day today. So I have the student that worked with me today, McKinley, I'm sorry. And she's going to be taking over this agenda, so bear with her because we practiced today, but she's learning how to be the mayor, so she can be the future mayor of Portage. I just have one brief announcement. On April 12th, we're going to be having the congressman is going to be here in this room starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to be going through the Central Avenue expansion project, for those of you who are not familiar with it. The congressman gave Portage a federal grant of $2.36 million to continue that project along, with another $1.1 million to do a interceptor project. So we will be having a press conference on that on April the 12th, starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon here in this room. You are all invited. So now I'm going to turn this over to McKinley.
Okay, I am now going to ask for the clerk treasurer's report.
We have a transfer resolution. Did you guys want to handle that now?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a transfer resolution, Resolution 23-01, an emergency resolution providing for the transfer of appropriations for several departments of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana, for the 2023 budget, and hereby presented to the Common Council for their action and passage pursuant to IC 6-1.1-18-6. Whereas certain extraordinary conditions have developed since the adoption of the existing annual budget for 2023, and it is now necessary to transfer appropriations into different categories than was appropriated, and it is now necessary to transfer appropriations into different categories than was appropriated in the annual budget for the various functions of the several departments to meet the emergencies. Section 1. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana, that the expenses of the city government, the following appropriations are hereby transferred and set apart out for the funds herein named for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Such sums herein transferred unless otherwise stipulated by law. Section 2. Where it has been shown that certain existing appropriations have unobligated balances which will be available for transferring the following. So the resolution is going to make it actually creating a new fund in lit. So Department 000 from other services and charges, which is 300 section, for the sum of $242,519 will be established as an additional lit fund for Department 500 for the Park Department for personal services 100 category in the same sum for $242,519. Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, just briefly, are we able to discuss what the emergencies are, the emergency shortfalls?
I would comment to that. The park has had some issues related to finding and having the money to hire adequate staff. And I know they also may have some capital improvements that they need to address. So this allows the park board to have flexibility on how they will spend this money. So we made a commitment to the park at the beginning of the year that we would address this issue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah, I'm good.
And just call for the Budget Committee Chair.
I'm going to ask for reports from the standing committee for the budget.
Yeah, the main issue was to address this financial situation with the park, and that was an immediate priority, that the budget, that we addressed in terms of the budget. We didn't have a formal meeting, and it wasn't necessary. We'll probably have a subsequent meeting set up here shortly when we get some further clarification on the equipment bond.
Thank you, Scott.
I'm sorry, I lost my Post-it note. An update on the equipment bond. I had a meeting a couple weeks ago, and we are shifting back to the Indiana Bond Bank. They have a program that is like a community funding, similar to the equipment bond that we had done or the equipment lease program that we had done in 2020. But this, however, is more like a traditional bond, a regular bank though, and you can get one lump sum. So we don't have to worry about collecting all the quotes and all of that. And this allows us to get the most competitive rate, especially right now.
So Nina, do we have any idea how long that process is going to take?
So they meet, their committee that approves the bond issuances, the application has been submitted. They meet in May. After they meet, then they let everybody know.
Thank you.
Moving forward, may I now have reports from the ordinance committee?
Yep, the ordinance committee met at a regular time before the council meeting tonight, just to do a final review of the chicken ordinance that will be read, have a first reading tonight, and I'll talk more about that when we have that reading.
Now I'm going to ask for reports from the city officials, starting with Attorney Witten.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I just have a few things tonight. I wanted to, first of all, let the council know that we did have our first negotiations meeting with the fire union. We've exchanged some requests. I'm thinking at this point, having reached out to Council President Podgorski, who was also present during the negotiations, that we have an executive session of the council. I'd like to bring you guys up to speed on that on the front end, get your feedback and how you'd like to proceed with the next bargaining. So that's moving along. The other issue is the council and mayor had asked me at the last meeting, I believe it was, to look into the issue of the dirt mound at Cardinal Crossing. Subsequent to that time, I did receive some correspondence from some homeowners. I did meet with the developer. I delineated those concerns and shared some of the pictures and some of my own observations and made a request of the developer to come up with a plan as to how he would like to address this in the short term. He was very agreeable to doing that, and then I know there was a follow-up meeting with the developer and the mayor, again, to sort of strategize a little more with his plan. I know he is coming up with something. I'll report more as that comes down the river, but in the short form, I believe his short-term plan was to get half of that berm gone soon, and then have address the back end of the second half of that berm in another manner. So I'll update you as things go, but I did express the urgency of the situation.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask for reports from the police department.
Good evening, everybody. Exciting night. I like swearing in new officers. It's a good feeling. The only bad thing about it is I feel older when I start looking at the unit numbers as they keep climbing and mine stays the same, low. So exciting, but again, also just shows how much we're growing, and all these retirements that we talked about are coming through. So I got some numbers for you. So our March total incidents for March, we're at 3,028. Brings us out to about 98 a day. I generally say that we run about 100 a day, so we're right about there. A couple under, but pretty much status quo from what we've been for the last year or so. So far this year, we're sitting at 8,469 through the 3 months. So. Going along with the swearing in, a little bit information on our hiring, staffing. Currently have 6 officers in our field training program, which essentially means we have rookies running around everywhere, including the 3 that were sworn in tonight. They've already started their training, so they're getting into it. And then we've got the 3 that have been at it for a little bit, and hopefully they'll be getting released sometime within the next couple of weeks. I think they're coming up towards the end, so that'll be a nice boost for the staffing levels. We also have 2 immediate openings. We're, again, it's Groundhog Day in here. We're going through a hiring process. We're working our way through that. Should have a list coming out of that soon. And again, we have 2 immediate openings. And then with retirements, we have 3 more coming in the next 2 months. And then I believe in August, we pick up another one. So we've still got an additional 4 openings that are coming up. So again, we'll probably just going to be in a perpetual state of having hiring processes here for a little while because we're going into next year where we'll have more retirements. So I'll be honest with you, it's tough out there right now. As we've been saying, everybody's hiring. I think that we're saturating the market for law enforcement. There's a lot of turnover in departments throughout our area, throughout the counties. And especially when you're constantly hiring, I think it's hard to find new people that are interested in if they, what makes them interested today when they weren't interested yesterday. So, we're picking up some that maybe are getting out of the military or have moved to the area and things like that. But the market is just so saturated at this point that it's a challenge. So I'm excited to get 3 good quality guys in here. I think we'll get some more in the next one, but it's definitely a challenge right now to try to get out there. And we're all competing, so we can say, are you out there in this environment or this environment, trying to get people, and we might be there, but so is Valpo, so is county, so is over, so we're tripping over each other trying to get people. But we'll keep moving forward, though. I've been pretty happy with the people that we've gotten over the last couple processes. So a little bit of our community engagement. Wanted to talk real quick about Youth Government Day. Obviously, we have 2 mayors today, so for those that haven't figured that out, that's what's going on. I had the opportunity to spend some time today with the Honorary Police Chief, DeJuan Davis, and I got to tell you, I was extremely impressed with him. Just the questions that were asked, the engagement. It was pretty cool because I'm gonna be honest with you. Going into it, I just got back from vacation. I'm like, there's so much stuff to do, and I'm like, and I don't know, this is a day where I'm going to be taken away from my stuff. I got to get caught up. I'm not sure how this is going to go, and like 2 minutes in with the questions and the just hearing about the things that are going on with our young adults, it was pretty cool. So I got into it. I even did a little role playing during the mock student council or city council meeting. I took the position of Attorney Dan Whitten. I think I played it pretty well.
Finally, we had legal representation.
Yes. I made some major legal decisions that didn't count, but I enjoyed my part. So again, I can't talk enough about the status of our students, and they introduce themselves and they're like, I'm going to this university, I've got double, triple, quadruple, 10 majors, and I'm thinking, man, in my senior year, I was trying to figure out where I was going to go, had no idea what I was going to do, and they've got all these plans. So it was cool. And we talk about, like as you get older, you say, the youth today and this and that, and, we complain about it's not going to be the same, they're not going to have the same values. What I saw today was, I feel pretty positive for what we're turning the world over to as we get older. So congrats to you all. Pretty cool stuff. So, all right, moving on from that. For those of you that follow us on social media, you've probably heard us mention our new therapy dog, Tilly, who made an appearance up here today. So if you aren't aware, we got Tilly through a program that's run through the Brevard County Sheriff's Department. So essentially what they do is they identify dogs that are in shelters, that need homes. They take them in and determine if they would be suitable for this type of work. Then they actually send them over to the prison or the jail down there, and they work with inmates for like 6 months and get training. And then what they do is they make these dogs available to basically anybody, that's has a need for them, law enforcement, fire departments, schools, things like that. So we learned about the program because Valparaiso University had gone down and got some dogs, and so we thought it was pretty cool. No cost to the department other than the travel and a very minimum fee for a certification. It's a win-win. The dog, or Tilly, has already visited a lot of people. Tilly's been busy. Tilly's been all over the city already and will continue to be. So she's living with Captain Monks, and they seem to be a pretty good pair. So look for Tilly at a location near you. She will probably visit you and possibly lick your face if you will allow it. The next big thing I'm excited about is we rolled out this week getting SROs into our elementary schools. As you know, probably we've got 3 full-time SROs. Shout out to Jake Wyrick back there who works at the high school. The SRO program is amazing. It's just, I'm passionate about it. Like I said, we've got the 3 full-timers, and the Porter County Sheriff's Department has 1, so we have 4 full-time officers in the schools. The problem is that in a perfect world, these guys would get to go out and visit the elementaries every day, but when you're running with, what's the population at the high school? Do you even?
24, just over 2,400.
So 2,400 kids at a high school, plus all the staff, parents. I think Jake would tell you it's a full-time job. So what we're realizing is we're not getting that, the interaction with the elementary kids. So working with Portage Township Schools, we came up with a program, and so we now have part-time officers in addition, or above and beyond their normal patrol duties. They're signing up for essentially part-time shifts, and they're getting into the schools. So we're doing 2 schools a day, and we just started it yesterday. First 2 days, I think, have been a great success. So, I put out something yesterday on Facebook. The first thing that you think about is that it's for a safety issue. But I can tell you that, number one, we've been working on this for a couple months, so it's not a knee-jerk reaction to what's occurred recently. And the second thing is that above and beyond the safety, just the relationships that these officers make with kids is such a huge thing. I didn't know you were going to be here tonight, but I'll brag about you a little bit. Even talking to the high school students today, they mentioned, your name came up. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about, is that kids are making these relationships with our officers, which I think helps us all in the long run. So really excited about that. We're also doing we're going to have some type of a community event for our officers to meet everybody that wants to come out, and it's going to be in May. I'll get you more details on that, but just be looking for that. So. And then the last couple things, you always know I end up with, I finish up with some recognition. Just want to thank everybody that worked during the storm. I was out of town, so I wasn't here, so I was kind of following along on social media and different things, and I know that there were some that were pretty badly affected, but I also know that our city services, as they always do, rose up, police, fire, streets, everybody involved did a fantastic job as usual, so kudos to all of them. And then I will tell you that I took a tour of the utility plant today, and I did not survive it. I had to hide in my car multiple times because it is they're cleaning our stuff, and so I give props to everyone that works out there. They told me that you'll get used to it. I don't know that I would, so. But in all seriousness, like this is a thing that you don't think about. That you know, you turn on your water, you get clean water, you can drink it. It's something you see the police, you see the fire, you see the street department. We don't see you. We don't see your people up there and what they do. And so it was pretty cool to see that, you know, this is something that we depend on. You're only going to hear about them when your stuff backs up, I would assume. So again, not my department, but kudos to you, because it was very eye-opening and nose-opening to me. So that's all I got. Any questions for me? All right, thank you all.
Chief, I did see you on the 7 o'clock news, the 5 o'clock news tonight on Channel 7.
You did?
I did.
I didn't know that.
I didn't see your face. I saw your report
Oh.
and what you're doing. So
Oh.
that was kudos to Portage. I did
Awesome.
catch that on there.
Good. Awesome. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Okay, so now I'm going to ask for reports from the fire department.
Good evening. My reports aren't going to be as humorous as the chief, so he seems to be on a roll today because at the mock council meeting, oh boy. So last month we did get busier, so we knew that would happen. So we're back on an uptrend. We had 473 total calls, 357 were EMS, 4 fires, and we had 6 mutual aid calls. So that brings our total up to 13, Mockingbird Lane. 13 total calls for the year, 973 EMS, and 10 fires. We had 25 mutual aid calls come into the city. This is a big deal. That number is, especially since we put the 3rd ambulance on. Last year, we had 25 mutual aid calls just in the month of March. And so now that is the total for the year. So we are probably 2/3 down from our mutual aid calls. So that not only helps us in the city, but it also helps surrounding areas that we don't have to rely on them, especially since they're in the same boat we are and trying to cover all their calls too. So I know last Sunday, it seemed like everything, I don't think there was an ambulance available last Sunday afternoon. So it just seemed like everything hits all at once. So thank you for that. For personnel, we still have 5 firefighters in the academy. They are just finishing up. They have like 2 more weeks, and then they'll be done, and they'll be able to return back to our shifts and finish their training, and then that way we'll be able to utilize them, which will be a huge help. We also, thankfully, with our hiring process, we were able to hire 4 more. So they have accepted positions. We're processing them right now. We're sending them down for their physicals, and hopefully they should be here by May, sometime in May. That still leaves us with 1 person, but we're hoping they have a couple of things that they have to get done to qualify for us, and that might happen in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So we might have our 5th person by then, so that'll be a huge help. We are still 3 people short on turns. We have one on workman's comp and 2 on major medical, so we still have 3 people off injured. Our vehicle and equipment status still unchanged. We are still on track for our new engine for January of next year. And the chassis problems with new ambulances continue, so we're still in a holding pattern to try to get a couple of new chassis and get new ambulances built. So fortunately, we knew this was going to happen, so we are planning ahead of time. And that gives it, we bought some time, so we're still okay there. We, like I said, did a file for assistance to firefighters grant. So with that, we're going to replace all of our hydraulic extrication equipment with battery-powered stuff. So that should be coming in the next couple months, is hearing if we want any of that. On that same thing, we are very excited that the RDC did get us give us some money, and with some of that money, we did purchase all new tools, battery-powered tools, so DeWalt tools that run with battery, so saws, grinders, things like that we're going to need to help us, and that's especially important because we don't have to rely on gas anymore. We won't have to carry gas for generators. We won't have to try to start them. So, plus it's a little bit cleaner for the environment. As far as training go, we're still doing our normal training, but we are excited to hopefully spring will show up sooner or later, and we can start getting outside and start doing more hands-on. Community involvement, we're still handing out gun locks. We still have gun locks at all 3 of our stations. We have had a few people come by and pick those up, so they're more than welcome to come by and get those. We've also been continuing to work with the school system on CPR. So we've done the school system, we've been working with utilities, we've been doing a lot of CPR lately and training, so it's wonderful to see. So we're always open to try to help and get these people all trained. Speaking of the school system, I know Chief Candiano, myself, the school has kind of started kind of a Portage community involvement with mental health and school needs, and they're bringing in people from DCS and Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, all of that, and we're all meeting and just trying to figure out what the school's needs are and how can we as a community get involved and help these kids and these families. So I applaud the school system for getting that going and kind of being the lead for it. So I think it's going to help out the community quite a bit. Also, Chief Kodachek and myself, we do sit on the unfortunate board of the Child Fatality Review Committee, but an offshoot of that is through the state is they have what's called a CAT, it's a Community Action Team, and they've helped us form one in Porter County, and what that's going to do is kind of identify what is putting these children at risk and trying to come up with solutions that try to help prevent child fatalities. So the one committee we sit on reviews after, and then this committee now is trying to prevent that from happening. So again, I want to also tag along with what Chief Candiano said about the storm. It's always great when we have these big events like that, just to see the city come together. Everybody works together. Police department calls fire department calls street department. You know, everybody that needs something, we're all there for each other, and it just goes to show, because one department can't handle everything. So it's good that we all get together. And you know, Saturday I drove around and it looked like a war zone in some areas, and the city did a great job of trying to get that all cleaned up and going again. And then also, the Student Government Day, again, like I said, was fantastic. And I was privileged enough to have 2 people shadow me today, because they want to be, because they want to go fire department. And it was Manolo and Lindsay, and these kids really have it on the ball. Lindsay is going to go for radiology, and Manolo, he's already enrolled in the Army as an Army medic. So they know what they're going to do, and they have a plan, and that's wonderful. But we did have a really good time at the mock council meeting. I wish the normal ones were that much fun, but other than that, that's all I have for the day. Any questions?
No, thank you, great.
And we did find out that you don't ask the mock council if they have any questions, because they wouldn't stop. All right.
Thank you. I'm going to ask for reports from the street department now.
Just want to alliterate on the storm events and the help that we got from the police and the fire is greatly needed there. But I just wanted to add another public note, and sometimes we get residents calling us and saying, hey, how come our road got blocked and how come it wasn't cleared? And when we arrive on the scene, we usually have supervisors looking at a downed tree. If it's wrapped up in power lines or any type of utility lines, we never touch it. Not until NIPSCO gets there to confirm that those lines are dead. So I just want to make sure that the public is aware that sometimes roads have to remain shut for at least a couple days before NIPSCO's on the scene to verify if those lines are dead. The reason why we don't touch lines is because some people have generators and they feed back through some of the systems, and it becomes very dangerous. So even though that line may not be sparking, it is energized with a low voltage, or not low voltage, but at least 110, 220 from area generators that it may be backfeeding those areas. So I just want the public to realize that sometimes during a storm like that, and it was a storm, it looked like a war zone on some of those streets. We had 3 chainsaw crews out and heavy equipment. So I was along with the crews, and police were communicating with us. I had dispatch communicating with us. Even the fire department went and closed down some roads ahead of us. We're a 24-hour service, but that doesn't mean we have 24-hour staff like the fire or the police. So it does take a while. I got to call down a list, make sure those guys can respond, and it usually takes us a good 20 minutes to respond to an emergency throughout the city. So I just want to make sure that the public is aware of that policy. All right, well, with the major limb pickup, that's going to be done through the Stone Avenue corridor. We're going to be working that north and south streets from that area for a while right now. So we're going to completely go through there, clean up, and then start back again. So we got residents right now that have limbs within the middle of their yard or their backyard, and they've already placed limbs at the front. We've got that picked up, and once they get those limbs back to the curbside, we'll service them again. And I know there's a ordinance, and there was some questions about the ordinance in place, like, hey, if you pick up a few loads of limbs in front of, will I be charged? No, we're waiving all those fees in limb pickup. So just wanted the public to be aware of that. We do have leaf crews out going citywide in our spring cleanup. So that's only going to last about 2 to 3 weeks. So that's all we're going to run that equipment. April 22nd is Earth Day, and that's going to be at the Expo County Fairgrounds there, and we will have one of our CNG trucks on site, so that will be highlighted. We've added 3 additional zero-turn mowers to our equipment for mowing crews, and May 18th through the 13th is Compost Week. So we are giving away compost to anyone that will show up, because we got a lot of it. So even if you're a contractor, we will load you up. There's particular hours, Monday through Friday from 10 to 2, and then on Saturday from 9 to 2. And that's on the US 12 compost site. And if you need to know that address, you could either call us, email us, or look on our Facebook page, and that is on there. So I just wanted to give everyone an update on the VW grant program. That we're getting our that's helping purchase some of the CNG equipment. We've already received 2 rear loaders, 1 mini rear loader, and 1 grapple truck, and they're absolutely beautiful. I had Jordan today with me, and had him experience of what it is to sit next to a diesel truck, and then I had a CNG right next to it, and we started it up. It purred. It was so quiet, and he's just amazed of that. The trucks, the guys are really loving those trucks and the equipment. We no longer have the DEF issues, so the regen issues. So this going this way, and I want to explain to everyone, a diesel molecule is about 14 carbons long. A CNG molecule is 2 carbons long. So that's how much cleaner it is, and it's cheaper. So the equivalent gas, the diesel equivalent gallon right now is $5 for diesel, and the equivalent for CNG is about a little over $2. So it's amazing how much you could save in that resource. So just one other thing, our current landfill contract expires in August, and we are developing an RFP right now for that, and we're going to have legal review on that, and then go to the Board of Works for final approval to go out to bid. So is there any other questions?
Randy, so
Yes.
because of that storm and how bad that it was, is that putting you guys a little bit behind as far as this is bulk week?
Actually, no, it's not.
Oh,
With the additional grapple truck that we got, we're keeping up with bulk. Some of the bulk from Monday is still at the curb, and we're going to eventually get to that. But because of all the utilities, the limb cutting up companies, the tree companies were in there, it was very much a havoc trying to get through those areas with that. But we will get all the bulk picked up. Anything left over after this, we'll get it next week, and there won't be any charges, so, if there is anything at the curb. So, anything
And Randy,
else?
while you're talking about cleaning up, I want to mention that on April the 29th, we have a citywide cleanup. So it's time to spruce up our city, clean up your yards, clean up your properties. We will be cleaning up our city, so I'm sure that some more things will get to the curb as a result of that, but it's time to make our city look a little bit better. I know in the spring, it's just kind of hard when you look around at all the debris that's around. So April 29th is our citywide cleanup day.
Yes. Okay.
Thanks for all you do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask for reports from Diane from the Parks Department.
At first, I just want to say thank you for the additional appropriation for those funds. And Mr. Williams, thank you for kind of pushing that today. I really, really appreciate it. I know the funds are going to make a big difference, and with more, we can do more.
It's also appropriate to recognize Clerk Treasurer Rivas, who came up with the plan to resolve this particular issue. So thank you, Clerk Treasurer Rivas.
Thank you. My report is not that big. For personnel reasons, we are hiring, so we're looking for part-time help and also seasonal help. Obviously, it's getting warmer, so people are out in the parks. That just means more trash to clean up, and we gotta mow, and all the things that go with that. So we are hiring, so if you know anyone, send them our way. Maintenance, we have a lot of little repairs. We were very lucky during the storm. We had a few trees come down, but they didn't hit any buildings or shelters, so we got very lucky. I went out at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning and started driving, seeing what buildings had power, and let's see. We have a few down trees. It'll take time because we are also working on some other things like our softball fields and stuff like that. So any trees that are down in the parks, feel free to let us know. We probably already have it on our list, but we will get to it. We did have one kind of major maintenance issue that came up. Our generator at Woodland Park is down. It is a very old piece of equipment. We did some repairs last year, and they only survived so much. Our repairs look about $20,000 right now just for repairs, with recommendations for new generators that are $40,000 to $50,000. So that's something I've got quotes, and we're going to go into the park board, and we'll see where we're at. But we definitely need it since we're a warming station. Events and programs, I was going to mention the April 29th. It's 9 a.m. till noon. We're going to meet at Founders, and then the cleanup will go from there. We obviously can hit parks and our city streets, so if you'd like to join us, 9 a.m., April 29th at Founders Square. We also have the Portage Parks Foundation Brew Fest, which is on April 22nd for those 21 and over. That's coming up. But park programs, we also have our Mother-Son event on May 5th. It is kind of, in correlation to the Daddy-Daughter Dance. We have the Mother-Son event. It's got jump houses and a movie, and that's Friday, May 5th. And then we have our Mother's Day craft fair on May 13th. So Amy's been really working hard on all those. Our athletics, the Cal Ripken Youth Baseball Program is back again this year, and this year they're going to be on the fields downtown, and we actually had more registration than last year, so we had about 35 more kids, which is great, and I know that next year will be even bigger because once I see them down there on the fields playing, it's going to be great. We had over 300 for our soccer sign up for the youth soccer. We also have our adult softball league that is going to start in May. Adult volleyball has already started, and so it's going to be a busy spring with athletics. And that's kind of all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll just say it. So good to see sports picking back up at the Parks Department. I know it was pretty low there for a while, even before COVID, so good to see it picking back up.
And Diane, you do have your new maintenance person, correct?
Yes,
Your
yeah, he
maintenance manager?
started, so, I believe it was like March 6th, so I put him in the last report, so I didn't want to repeat it, but it's been really nice to be able to go, you want to get that? So, all right. Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you. And now I'm going to ask for reports from Tracy from the water treatment plant.
Good evening. Hi. So I want to start with the Youth Government Day. Everyone's speaking about it, but it was a tremendous day. I really feel that the kids learned a lot. They did come to the plant, which at first I was excited about it because I wanted them to see the technology and everything we do, but then I knew the smell would affect them. But seriously, the kids took the smell a lot better than the chief did. They went in everywhere. They followed us everywhere. They looked at things. I think once they got there, they kind of overcome the thought of it all. I'd like to thank Carl Nelson, my operations coordinator. He did an awesome job with the tour. He explained our technical areas to their level of being able to understand it. He brought it all together for them. So I want to thank him for that. It was a great day. Josie was with me, and she is a superb youth, and learned a lot from her, not only her learning from us, but it was a great day. It really was. From that, the plant, we had our SRF's applications put in, so they made the deadline of April 1st. They're submitted. We just got to wait till about late June, July to find out what we receive of the funding for that.
How are we feeling about that?
Clarifier and the solar project, very, very positive thinking on that. Our other projects that we were doing for the collection and that kind of stuff, it may not fund this year, it might fund next year. But last year we were ranked 8, and they took the first 5 projects, so for our clarifiers. So it's being pushed hard, both by Baker Tilly, all the engineers. So and adding the solar is going to help tremendously. Commonwealth is going to give us a final design on our solar coming up here this week, so we'll be able to look at that. So I'm very excited about that. Besides that, the storm didn't affect us too much, didn't go that far north. It hit a little bit, it was a quick amount of rain, but we did have a veteran operator on shift at that time, which was lucky because we have a lot of newbies, and it would have been a little bit more difficult. But we did have a veteran on, so he just followed through. It was just like a normal day for him. So we had no issues. Equipment ran fine, everything. We didn't even have to put a generator on. Everything ran good. Besides that, biomonitoring. So once a year, we have to do a biomonitoring where we collect samples and they send it into a lab, and it's tested on how many of these minnows develop, if our water kills them, if they still reproduce the way they're supposed to. It's a test on that, and we passed. We've passed every year. We've had no problem with that. We have no toxicity in our water at all. So we passed that again, so kudos to all my staff and everything on that also. Besides that, we're running same as always in the plant. Any questions?
No, you're doing a great job out there, Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the wastewater treatment plant is the last thing that people want to talk about, but it's the first thing that's most important for your city. Is if your underground system isn't functioning, your city isn't going to function. And so we have been working very hard on asset management plans for the city, doing asset management plans on the underground system, which has never been done before. So we are really head and shoulders above with our plant. It guarantees our businesses who are coming here, building homes and building businesses, that we're all in good stead with that wastewater treatment plant, and that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, thank you. That smell, whew, it was something different, but I will say I learned you guys were the underdogs, so I gained a newfound respect. So thank you for what you do. Did we miss anybody? Anything? Connor.
Connor was the youth commission.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. So since I last spoke, the Youth Commission had the opportunity to go pay a visit to Rittenhouse again, and we played bingo. So I'd say, we all had a good time. We, going forward, are looking into possibly visiting a few other, like, city official spots, kind of like the water sewage treatment facility or the police station. We're still trying to figure out a few spots, but we're looking into doing some of that, too. And then we're also looking for new members, too, for the Youth Commission. So if anybody knows anybody that's somewhere from the ages of 8th grade to 11th grade that's interested, it's on the Portage City website. So, and there's an application. It might say a date to file by, but we're still going to take it anyways. You can always use new members. That's about all I have. Any questions? All right.
Thanks, Connor.
Thank you.
There is no unfinished business, so with that, we are going to move right into new business, and I'm going to head that over to Councilperson Podorski.
Thank you. So we have a presentation, Danielle, from the Portage Recovery.
You guys grab that. First, I want to say thank you for allowing us to come and speak today and talk about what we find so important to us. Jake, who's the president of PRA, will also speak a little bit after I'm done with what I put together. So, and I also want to say thank you for your responsiveness. Everybody I've reached out to has been wonderful, and I really want to say thank you. Sue, Debbie, Colin, thank you very much for that. So, a little bit about Portage Recovery Association. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting individuals and their families in recovery. We offer a safe and sober environment, collectively based on the principles of 12-step recovery programs. Through activities such as meetings, fellowship, educational activities, and social events, PRA strives to enhance the lives of people in recovery and the communities in which they live. PRA has been, Portage Recovery Association, also known as PRA, that's what we call it, has been operating for 30 years in various locations with very little funding. Over the past 3 years, our membership has tripled and the amount of income we receive has decreased. We need to purchase a building. Currently, it costs $50,000 a year to run at our current location, including rent, which is half. And I want you to know that's rent, so we're just borrowing basically a building, and we don't own it. It's just money that's going to nothing, really. PRA is the only nonprofit recovery-based organization in Portage. We are asking for 1/3 of the opioid funds to assist us in purchasing a building and other costs affiliated with bettering the services we currently offer. As asked prior, I did look into what the guidelines were, and I found them. I reached out to Mitch Peters, who had all that information. He shared it all with me. So I'm just going to go over the bold print. You guys can kind of look at the rest later. But one is spend the money to save lives, which obviously that's what we do. There's quite a few of us here in the audience that are witness of our lives being saved. Can you guys kind of raise your hands? Most of us are Portage residents. And over half of them were there when I walked in the rooms over 15 and a half years ago. We use evidence to guide spending. Evidently, 12 steps recovery is evidence-based. It truly saves lives. Invest in youth prevention. Jake will tell you a little bit more about how we're going to work on doing that. Focus on racial equity, well, that's without saying, look at all of us. And then develop a fair, transparent process for deciding where to spend the funding. That's more of what you all would do. We strongly believe that we fit several of these guidelines. We ask the City Council takes in strong consideration what we are asking in order to assist us in being the answer for so many struggling in our city. Any questions for me, for us? And then Jake's going to share a little bit too. Go ahead, sir.
Hello. Thanks again, like Danielle said, for seeing me. Sorry, I'm a pest sometimes. I don't think there's anything wrong with that to an extent, because I just have a passion for recovery. I think I shared a little bit last month, I didn't know what to do with myself after I got sober. That was this huge problem that we really had, and I just really wanted to get involved with the PRA. We started making some small moves here and there. Been president there 6 years now. We just got elected for another year last week. Tomorrow will be 30 years to the day of the first ever PRA board meeting, which is really cool. You know what I mean? It's like a cool number, and we're having a party. Did you give me these out, Danielle? At the end of the month, so you can clean up your yard on the 29th and then come get cake after. You know what I'm saying? So, and if you want to come help clean up our yard, you can come the day before, and it's fun too. So, super cool party. We're just gonna have some cake. We're gonna do some fun stuff. You know what I mean? Just like an open club format. But for me, man, we're just at a point like PRA. So this is the dilemma that we're in. On July 1st, I have to let our landlord know if we are going to stay at this current location or not. Our lease goes through the end of September. As part of our lease agreement, I am able to opt out of our lease after every year if we choose, but in return for that, he needed something also, which means we have to pay 1 year up front, the entire year. We have to pay him. So he gave me some leniency. I was able to give him what he wanted, which is a chunk of cash. So if we do that, we're going to be broke, pretty close to it. You know what I mean? And that's we just got approved the other day for to get a Narcan box put outside of our facility with the Hub Coalition. I talked to the landlord yesterday. He gave me the okay for his facility to have that. That'd be the only one in the northern half of Portage, which I think is really cool. A lot of people here supporting us. You know what I'm saying? Joe is my vice president back there. He has 11 years sober today. You know, and that's really cool. I want to speak about Eric for a second. He's the guy that I just met with in the last couple of years. He just celebrated 20 years last month. He's battling brain cancer and still feels the need to regularly attend our facility, and not only regularly attend, more lately he's been getting more involved with what we're doing, you know what I mean? So I can't thank you enough, man, for putting health aside to come help us, you know what I mean? That just shows what we're about, you know what I mean, the recovering aspect. And you know what I mean? I don't really have a whole lot to say. I mean, other members of our group would love to speak if they're allowed. I don't know the rules and stuff. It's just like I'm all in on recovery. I celebrated 10 years yesterday myself. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. You know, I never dreamed a life like this could exist, because I just didn't. Isn't that right, Mr. Williams? So I'm grateful. Thanks for your time.
Do you guys have any questions for us?
My only question would be if you guys had any luck in locating a facility yet, or?
We're working on it.
Yeah.
It's
a process. So I've talked to several real estate people, and I'm hoping just to find that one. That's my goal. I need to find one person that has a lot of money and wants to help someone. You know what I mean? It's either that or just keep smallly growing. But it's the same thing every year. We grow, we spend the money, then we have to start over again. So we just constantly never get anywhere. And we've had 7 different locations in 30 years. We want that permanent place, because we used to be at the old Chrisman High School that's long gone. We used to be in the blue, I call it laser tag building for anybody my age that grew up in South Haven. The laser tag building, PRA used to be there too, which I think is super cool. And then all over. So we're just one more. We want to move once more and then be there. in this city, not outside of Portage, like in this community.
So you have in your, currently it costs about 50,000 a year to run at our current location. Is that your total budget?
Yes.
Or
That's
just rent?
everything.
Okay.
That's everything. Yeah.
And how much of that is rent? Just curious.
Almost half,
A little less than half.
a little less than half, yeah. It's just everything else that goes with it. You think that we often have food for the members. We often have, you know, coffee, a safe place for somebody to come every Saturday evening from 4 until whatever.
And the rent is 3% increase every year too. That's written into our lease. So it's just gonna keep going 3%, 3%, 3% until we leave.
So are you looking to purchase a building, ideally, or would you be
Ideally.
open to renting a different facility?
Ideally, we want to purchase, ideally,
But open to anything.
yeah, at this point.
Have you reached out to any of the churches in Portage that would be able maybe to help
Yeah,
with
I have a
you?
meeting Thursday with the Real Life Church, the pastor. So one of our club members goes there, and I have a meeting there Thursday 11, because I guess they have that back building that's like no one's there or something like that. And the pastor reached out to our member about that. And I drove by today, it's like a separate building, and there's like 10 classrooms, and I'm like, score, there's parking, and like, you know, church people and stuff are cool too, you know. Like, they're all game.
They just want to rent that to you, though?
I have no
We have
idea.
no clue what's gonna
I
happen.
just got the call this afternoon.
So what are you seeing in the demand for your services? Do you see a steady increase? It's unfortunate that you have that kind of demand, but what are you seeing, what are you experiencing in that vein?
All right, so I've been president for 6 years at the club now. When I first became president, we were getting anywhere between 200 to 300 people a week. We're sometimes triple that nowadays. COVID really hit us hard, but what we're seeing is that we're getting people flooded in. So this is a good time of the year because of all the DUIs on like New Year's and stuff like that. So like a lot of people come in with the sheet and the look, you know. But we're constantly growing, but the problem is that with everybody being so cash strapped nowadays, like everybody's tight, you know, they're not able to put that donation in because we 100% run on donations, you know what I mean? So our numbers are constantly going, and I think that's like real important too, is that like I feel, for me, man, like recovery is the hit, it's not the prevention, because you can't stop alcoholism. I got shoved it down my throat since I was a baby, don't do drugs, don't drink, and I was doing it the first opportunity I got, and I didn't look back. So we can't prevent it, but what we're good at is that when they're ready to surrender, like we're there. And like that's gonna give better results, I think, than any kind of like personally teaching classes or Crime Dog McGruff or, you know, Nancy Reagan or whatever, Betty Ford, like the prevention it can't be stopped. It's here. How do we fix it? We have a solution. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just add two considerations just to think about is with the funds that you guys stated here that you were asking for a third of it, that we don't have all of it. I'm sure you guys know that this is it's a yearly thing going for.
So it's 16 years.
Yeah, it goes till 2038.
Yeah.
There was 2 installments up front and then 15 years.
Yeah, we got, because it went back to a certain year and we got some up front. So there's that consideration, and then two, I don't know, Dan, if you've looked into how that can be distributed. I know with like ARPA, we had to, there were things that they had to have something in place first. We couldn't just, you know, write a check. Yeah.
There's guidance coming down slowly on that. And I would suspect that the council, as you entertain the notion of requests, which is good questions, but you'd want to see things like a budget, you'd want to see things, you know, that's a little more detailed to consider what you could and couldn't do, have a better idea of the ask.
Would it almost be considered just a grant, like I don't know, 16-year grant at this point? 13-year, however many years we have left?
More on that question.
Yeah, that's just why I ask about building, if you pinpointed one, because that could help us.
Yeah, so, no, we can't find anything. I mean, like I said, I've talked to a bunch of people, mixed results. I mean, you know, they say, hey, come out and take a look, and then we get there, and I go look, and it's like, well, we need this, we need this, we need that, we don't have that. You know what I mean? It's either that, or like if we could just find a place, like either rent for free, or, I mean, if you got something like that you can hook me up with, I don't know. Or like, or a plot of land where we can build, you know, stuff like that, or something to stay, you know?
So I know that you maybe had other members of PRA that want to speak.
Yes.
I would say maybe just one more person, Danielle, because we have a pretty hefty agenda going forward. And so for the sake of the other people that are here tonight, if you
Sure.
have someone that would like to speak, I mean,
Yes.
that's up to you.
John? John's been working with the school systems too. He's been our outreach person with what's going on with that situation.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'm John Worth, and been sober 30 years, dedicated to recovery. In addition to what's commonly known as Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, there's 3 other programs that we have at PRA that the community, I think, would benefit by knowing about. One is Al-Anon. Al-Anon is for families and friends of loved ones, those who have sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers who are suffering from the disease of alcoholism. There's meetings every week going on where one recovering parent is helping another recovering parent deal with their child who is addicted and help understand what you can do and really what doesn't work. The 4th program that we have is adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. Many people grew up in dysfunctional households, whether there was abuse or trauma, and they carry the effects of that into adulthood. And that pus that's in the back of the head remains there until we go from hurting to healing to helping, from hurting to healing to helping. And that's what the 12-step recovery program does for those who grew up in dysfunctional households. There's many people, whether they become alcoholics or workaholics or whatever, that benefit from the 12-step, this 12-step program. And the last one is Nicotine Anonymous. The high school has, we've talked with them. We hope there's a program dealing with vaping, where 12-step recovery that's been effective in so many other ways will help youth recover from the effects of vaping. So that's in a nutshell that in addition to the substance abuse recovery, there's much more to Portage Recovery Association than just that. It's the families, it's the friends, it's the students, and it's those that have grown up in dysfunctional families that can recover and heal. And ultimately, when things go well, we go from hurting to healing to helping, and that's what we're trying to do. Thank you.
So anybody else have anything from the council that they wanted to say at this time?
There's one thing I did want to clarify. I wasn't sure if I was, so if we had the funding, we're comfortable staying where we're at, even though it's expensive, because like the way that I kind of look at it too is if we had it, we don't know what's around the corner. There might be something later on that's a better opportunity, you know what I mean? I don't want to get moved into a lateral position or a spot that we can't get out of, if that makes any sense. Like I want to move up and then stay up, you know?
Well, we certainly, I think the entire council appreciates you coming, appreciates you doing the presentation. We certainly are just starting to look into this. So we're going to look into it even further. And as Attorney Whitten gets more information to us, then we can kind of better know what else we want to ask of you, and what else is in the pipe, because we know our police chief has something as well that he's working on. So both of which are great assets to the city, and it's good that you're taking care of folks. So we thank you for that.
Madam President, just one comment. Would it make sense to ask them to act on the recommendation of Attorney Whitten to maybe put a preliminary budget together that you could present to us so we have some idea what the asking is and how the monies would be used as we formulate our recommendations and decisions?
That's what I was going to say. I would suggest, guys, that maybe put together a pretty detailed budget as to what's going on now in your, revenue versus cost world, and then maybe a little more detailed ask and say, this is what our plan is, or it sounds like maybe you've got a couple of different options. This is if we're buying, this is what we're looking for, if we're renting or staying where we're at. You know, something a little more detailed, and I'm happy to chat with you guys as well.
Okay, would you like us to correspond email, or how would you like us to correspond with
You could correspond with me email or stop at my office.
you? Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to do that. Gave me permission.
Well, thank you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Moving forward, we have Conrady CF1, and I'm also going to turn that over to Councilperson Fedorski.
Attorney Witten, do you want to?
So as you know, as part of the tax abatement, Conrady is required to present to you their CF1 for approval to show compliance. So the action that you can take tonight is either to approve the CF1 or to not.
I'll make a motion to approve the CF1.
Second. That's for real and personal?
So we've got a representative from Conrady, who I did not see behind there. If you have questions of her as well, Leah's here.
Oh, Leah's here.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Leah.
Hi. Thank you. I just want to say thank you, but if you do have questions, I'm happy to answer them. I would especially like to thank the fire department and police department for all that they've done for Conrady Plastics. Anytime we have a call, you guys are right on it, and we are so appreciative, so thank you. And also to the city, we want to be good stewards, so if we can be helpful in any way, please let me know.
You've all been growing, correct?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we are
You
growing.
want to talk a little bit about that? You're one of the most exciting companies in Portage, so.
Oh, good. Yeah, we have, so our business, we machine and distribute plastic. So we are growing in both our machining and distribution side. We've been adding employees. I mean, I came into the business in 2020, and we're steadily growing with employees and revenue, and we're going to be here for the long term. So we're very happy to be here. But yeah, we service a lot of companies in Indiana. Task Force Tips, which supports fire trucks and firefighting equipment, we support them. But yeah, we're here to stay.
To your question, Councilman Williams, so you have a statement of compliance for both real estate and personal in front of you.
Yeah, I just wanted to make the motion clear that it's for real and personal property that we're addressing. So I think we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Not all.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Okay, and now we have discussion about streetlight requests with Councilperson Williams.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have a request from a resident for a street light at Oliver and Stephen. I'd like the council's permission and in the form of a motion to send this to the Board of Works for consideration.
Scott, does that have a poll already? Or do
No,
we need
it will need a poll.
I'll make a motion to forward this to the Board of Works for approval. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Represent by saying aye.
Aye. We haven't had this come up for a while. Is it 2 a year? Is that what we usually go with? So keep an eye out. If there are any streetlights, you get 2 a year to recommend, so.
I'm going to do 10 by the end of the year, so.
All right, thank you. Now we have the introduction and adoption of ordinances. First, we have ordinance number 23-03, and I'm going to turn that over to Councilperson Fedorski.
Councilman Brian Scully, would you please so kind as to read?
Yes. Ordinance number 23-03, an ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Section 10 of the Municipal Code to add 10-42 entitled Chickens. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Portage has determined that it is substantial and compelling interest in amending its municipal code to allow residents to keep chickens with some restrictions. Be it, and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage of Indiana as follows. Ordinance Amendment, Chapter 10, Article 2 shall be amended, including the Section 10-41, which shall read as follows. Section 10-41, chickens. 1, chickens shall be allowed to be kept within the City of Portage, Indiana, with all the following requirements and restrictions. A, chicken is a Gallus domesticus, a domestic bird typically kept on a farm. This definition does not include other fowl such as, but not limited to, peacocks, turkeys, or waterfowl. B, no roosters, male chickens shall be allowed under the provisions of this section. C, there should be no more than 5 chickens on any parcel of land within the city limits of Portage. D, chickens must be kept completely and securely enclosed under the control of the owner and on the owner's property at all times. E, a chicken coop is an enclosed structure for housing chickens that provide shelter from the elements, shall be provided and maintained in good order. The chicken coop must provide adequate sun, shade, ventilation, and must be impermeable to rodents, wild birds, and predators, including cats, dogs, and provide at least 10 square feet of space per chicken kept therein. The chicken coop and run shall be situated a minimum of 10 feet from the property line. The chicken coop shall be 8 feet in height. F, chickens shall be provided with access to feed and clean water at all times. G, all feed for the chickens shall be stored in containers as to protect against intrusion by rodents and vermin. H, chicken coop shall be maintained in sanitary condition and in compliance with all applicable health regulations of the state of Indiana, Porter County, and the city of Portage. I, chickens and chicken coops shall be confined to the rear of the property. J, any chickens kept in accordance with the provisions of this section shall be for non-commercial, personal use only, and may not be slaughtered on the property. 2, conflicting ordinances, any ordinance or provision of the city of Portage or municipal code in the city of Portage that conflict with provisions of this ordinance is hereby repealed. Enforcement, the enforcement and violations of section 10-41 shall be subject to section 10-27 titled enforcement. Violations, any violation of 10-41 shall be subject to section 10-59.3 violations and penalties. Let the record reflect this has been read in its entirety. I'll just say this is a first reading tonight, and so we'll take the month to hear public comment, and then it'll be up for a second reading at the next council meeting where it'll be up for a vote. After meeting tonight, the ordinance committee does want to inform the council that we will be asking for 2 amendments to what you have in Dropbox. And that is in section D, we want to add language to have the chicken and coop within a fence on the property. So if you keep chickens, you need to have a fence on your property. And then also section E, it currently states that chicken coop shall be 8 feet in height, where we want to change that language to a minimum of 6, but no more than 8 feet in height. So yeah, this ordinance closely mirrors what's done in Valpo and Chesterton, and we thought that was a good starting point. We made a few little tweaks for us, and yep.
Any council members have any comments at the moment?
Regarding the chickens, enforcement, is there going to be any type of like registration, or is it just kind of every person for themselves?
No, we discussed registration, and upon the advice of the police department representation that was at the meeting, we decided against it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving forward to ordinance number 23-04, and I'm gonna again send that over to Councilperson.
I'm going to field this one if I can.
So I asked Scott if Scott would go ahead and read that first.
I sure will. Ordinance number 23-04, an ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code entitled Zoning Map. Be it, and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana as follows. Section 1. This ordinance shall amend Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of the Portage Municipal Code and accompanying zoning map in the following manner. The zoning shall be changed from R2, low-density residential, to M1, multifamily residential, and M2, multifamily residential for 37 acres plus or minus south of Lute Road between East Bend and Roswell Drive. Let the record reflect that this ordinance has been read in its entirety.
Attorney Witten, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I don't have anything on that one just yet.
I'm curious.
I did speak to the representative of the petitioner and indicated that since he was unable to be here tonight, that when we bring it up for second reading, they'll be here for questions and he can answer any of the particularities that you might have for them.
So it's just going to be their representative?
The attorney and representative of the company.
So there's no one here tonight from Olthoff?
Well, I'm from Old Top. I'm just a little bit confused. Is it 2304? It says Central Avenue.
It's flipped on.
I mean, I guess my questions are, I have a lot of residents with Olthoff homes in my district.
Sure.
And I have received nothing but complaints with recent developments.
Okay.
2 years out from being built, complaints about their warranties not being lived up to, drainage problems in hidden waters in particular. I've been reading about Olthoff's problems in Chesterton, the $100,000 fine for the neighborhood over there. And I got to say, I am not inclined to support this development with Olthoff being the developer. Because residents have reached out to me ever since Hidden Waters has been developed, and it's been nothing but problems over there.
I understand. And I've been intimately involved in Hidden Waters, and we did put a lot of effort into solving a lot of those issues within Hidden Waters. So.
Well, the water's not so hidden. The
It's
water
not.
shows up every time it rains.
And we were not,
so.
unfortunately, we were not the developer of that community. We were just a home builder buying finished lots. So we tried to work with the developer of that community to resolve many of the issues out there, but at some point, some of those were developer issues.
Yeah, but these have been issues in the homes too. Leaks in the homes that are not, or the Olthoff is staying are out of warranty, and you have to file insurance claims on them, and then it ups insurance premiums for homeowners. So I will tell you, I'm not inclined to support this with the troubles that we've had with Olthoff and with what other cities have dealt with.
Understand.
My question, sir, this development is set for multifamily residential housing? That's correct?
Well, it's townhomes and paired cottage homes. So, I mean, there is a line between multifamily and residential, so these are residential uses.
Very good, thank you.
Yep.
Attorney Witten, do you have anything else to say?
I don't think so, Madam Mayor. I believe, again, on second reading, they'll be here with their attorney, and if we have particular questions, but this gives you an opportunity to kind of go back and talk to the planning commission members. It was not a unanimous vote, I'm told, so maybe get some feedback and thoughts from the voting members from the planning commission, and be ready for the next meeting.
Gina, as our representative on the Plan Commission, do you have anything that you wanted to convey to the council about your meeting at the Plan Commission?
There was 5 members, yes, and 3 said nay. But we were very thankful for the different times they approached the Plan Commission as to what we wanted and changed plans multiple times.
I think the site development is good. I have no issues with what is being planned there. The number of residents that have complained about the quality, I just am not in favor of this.
And in behalf of Plan Commission, we are looking at the sites and the layout.
So you said the south part is townhomes and the rest up on the north side is paired patios?
I have a copy of the site plan if you want me to hand it out, but
Yeah.
So I don't know what you have in your packet. South half, there's two townhome buildings, and then the north half is all paired cottage-style homes.
Okay.
So there's 100 and, I'm going by memory here, I have it in my notes, but it's 130 total units.
Okay.
We did work with the Plan Commission from November of last year, I believe is when we were in there, and we attended many, 3 or 4 Plan Commission meetings, and we whittled that number down. I think we came in originally at 190 units, and those were more townhome buildings than paired, and then we ended up completely flipping the uses. So now you're seeing a dominant paired cottage in comparison to townhome buildings. So it's 60%, again, I'm going by memory here, 60% paired cottage buildings and about 40% townhomes.
And the townhomes, are these 2-story or 3-story? Because like in my district, I have one area that's got these 3-story things that are.
These are 2-story detached. There's courtyard space in between a detached garage and a residential unit.
It's a lot like what's off Lexington by the post office.
Yes.
And sir, once the development is complete, about how many residents do you expect to live there? Or what is its capacity, I guess I should say?
It's a great question. And I don't know that I can speak directly to a number. Like I said, there's 130 units. The paired cottage is usually, seniors, just depends on the demographic that's there, but maybe 2 total in those type of units. And then in the townhome buildings, you're seeing, singles, so two or 1 style demographics.
I have concerns about traffic on Lute Road, which is already, problematic as it is, but I appreciate you coming out, answering our questions, and you'll have a chance to answer even more next month.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
What is the average cost of those homes, might I ask?
The paired cottages would be somewhere between $250 and $275, and the townhomes would range a little bit lower than that, probably $225 to $250. Again, in this market, things are fluctuating every day, but that's where we would expect them to fall.
On behalf of the traffic, originally the layouts there was a lot of driveways on the main road, and they definitely changed and cut that down as well as the townhomes.
Yeah, as far as traffic goes, I'm excited for this property to be developed so Augusta Boulevard can finally go through, and I think that would help with Lou Road traffic, airport traffic, and Willow Creek traffic.
And this is just the first step. So if we were able to get zoning, we'd have to come back into the primary realm, and at that point, the technical details like the traffic, the engineering, things like that would have to get worked out. So there might have to be some improvements made at Augusta and Lute Road to manage some of that traffic.
Yeah, that's the point he's making, right? That we're just entertaining a request for a rezone. The questions you're asking are appropriate, but keep in mind that this just puts them back at the plat development, the subdivision approval through the planning, BZA if applicable.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to ordinance number 23-05, and I'm going to send that again to Councilperson Podorski.
Attorney Witten, you take that, please?
I certainly can, Madam President. So I have spoken with the representative for the petitioner on this request. At this time, they're not going to pursue it. My suggestion, this came up as an unfavorable recommendation from the Plan Commission, as you will note. So my recommendation to the council tonight would be to vote to deny and therefore uphold the unfavorable from the Plan Commission.
So we'll need to suspend and then,
You could deny on one vote.
okay. I'll make a motion to deny.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'll just say one thing. So this doesn't mean they won't be back. In fact, I think the idea was they still had a little bit of legwork to do with some state agencies before they get back to it. So they're thinking maybe at least a year or two down the road, but they just, at this time, it just was premature.
Thank you. Moving forward. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now moving forward to petitions and public input. Do we have anything?
If anybody from the public would like to speak.
Okay, if anybody from the public would like to speak, you can come to the podium now. You'd state your name and address.
Real quick, who seconded the motion to deny?
Any other matter?
All right, and then do we have any other matters not already considered by the council from anybody?
No, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
If not, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
This girl's going to law school. She's got her.